Right, Shebang Gang, what's poppin'? It's your boy Samir Shebang here with you guys again with my girlfriend.
Hi, my name is Maria and I'm not his girlfriend.
Alright, she's not my girlfriend. But we're out here up in Runyon Canyon in, what is it, like LA, Hollywood, right?
Yeah, it's Hollywood.
Yeah, in Hollywood. And really what we want to talk about today is Kanye's most recent interview. All right, now before we dive into it, I want to say that we're not going to talk about anything that has to do with the political side of it. We're not touching on the racism side of it. Really what we want to focus on is you know, talking about the main things that he shared that can relate to entrepreneurs. Okay, and Jimmy's like walking backwards, so I'm gonna make sure that he's not tripping, but we're gonna talk about some of the main things. And actually, while I was watching the interview, the Charlemagne interview, I recorded, or I took some notes on the main points that I think are really important for, you know, all entrepreneurs to know. Look at this puppy right here. So which side is this, by the way, right here? This is West Hollywood, or?
Yeah, this is West Hollywood. Oh no, this is Hollywood.
This is Hollywood. All right, so as most of you guys know, you know, Kanye is a super controversial person. And the main reason why is because, you know, he believes in free thought and free speech, and he believes in, you know, sharing his opinions and voicing, you know, your opinions as well. So obviously I'm a big believer of that as well. No matter how good or how bad your idea might be, it's really all about, you know, just expressing your opinion. So with that being said, right, he started off the interview saying something really important, and it was for the fact that when he was, you know, going through rough times, when he's going through the rough patches of, you know, people mocking him, people making fun of him, people, you know, being cynical towards him and just judging him a lot, he said that what got him through those tough times is by talking to the people around him, you know, by talking to his inner circle, and, you know, just expressing how he's feeling. Because obviously a lot of times, you know, and I'm sure you notice, like a lot of times when people commit suicide and stuff like that, it's because they don't really, you know, express like their what they're going through, you know.
Yeah, they hold it.
Yeah, so
it's more and more and after they blow up.
Yeah, and then it just blows up. And for Kanye, obviously we've witnessed, you know, through his like story, through his journey, where there was multiple times where like he just completely, you know, blew up. He completely you know, just acted out of character. And honestly, I mean, there's both sides to the story where, you know, the media obviously makes it seem like he's way worse than you know, he actually is, because they just use the sound bites and whatnot. But then there's the other side where, like you said, you know, where things just build up, and, you know, it just like, if you hold it in and you don't let it out, you don't have somebody help you out. Like, for example, you know, you have a personal trainer, right? Like, you've been working with them or with your personal trainers for how long? Years now, right? And so the same thing kind of goes for the mind. Like, if you're, you know, if your mindset is fucked up, it doesn't make sense to just avoid it. You know, if we work at our body, we obviously, and we go to the doctor to get it checked out, or a chiropractor. You said you did, what is it?
Acupuncture?
Acupuncture. I don't think I'll ever be able to do that.
Actually.
Yeah.
But if you have, like, if someone hurt you, or just you have a lot of emotions, you can always have a psychologist. Yeah. And it will always help you to go through many difficulties, you know?
Yeah. And
I use the psychologist myself. Even I have no problems, but to get to my goals, I want to get faster. So I need someone to help me, you know, like, to express my emotions and just like to talk.
Gotcha. So someone to talk to, pretty much, right? Somebody to...
Yeah, of course you have friends, like many friends, close friends, but someone like a specialist. Yeah,
they like profession in the mindset and what makes people, like, you know, in mental illnesses and stuff like that. So, you know, you could go towards the route of, you know, going to a specialist, but at least, you know, minimal, you gotta at least talk to, you know, your friends or you know, your family and people that are close to you, because Eunice, what did he say? He said your friends know you better than,
like, your psychologist, because like a crash course on you right before you show up.
Yeah.
Rather than your friends know your true intentions and what you want.
Exactly. So, you know, it's kind of like either you got to choose some, you know, if you're going to choose like, not a workout guru, like a personal trainer, they have to be ripped, you know, they have to be in shape. You can't just like choose someone just because it's on their Instagram or something like that. You know, they have to actually be fit. They have to know what they're talking about. So same thing goes when, you know, you're trying to find somebody to help you through your issues or your problems. You got to find someone who knows what they're talking about. But besides the point, I just want to touch on that because I feel like, you know, as entrepreneurs, like we go through a lot of tough times. You know, sometimes we feel alone because oftentimes when you become, you know, when you're going up the ladder of like entrepreneurship or whatever it is, you start to distance yourself from, you know, old friends or maybe even family members that are not supporting you or whatever it is. And a lot of times, again, entrepreneurs find themselves, you know, feeling all alone. So it's key to have, you know, your social circle in place, to have good people around you, good vibes around you, right? Good vibes. That's a major key. But we'll dive into the second point, and it actually ties along well because when he talks about, so he says, let me actually look at my, so he says there is no such thing as good or bad, right? And him and Charlemagne were talking about this, and it really sparked my interest because, you know, there is no such thing as negative or positive. It's all part of, you know, the success story, right? So it's like, for example, when Kanye was going through those rough times, a lot of people were thinking that, oh, he's done, he's over, blah blah blah, but it was really just a rough patch in his life where you know, he's obviously learning, he's growing as a person, and that's what's gonna make Kanye the Kanye legacy, you know what I mean? That's what's gonna make like his story of you know, who he is. It's all the bad and the good. But like sometimes, and I want to get your opinion on this, is oftentimes we, you know, look at the bad as negative, you know. So if you're struggling, you know, then that's like super negative. You need to
get out of it.
Yeah, get out of it, or make more money, because that's the good, you know what I mean? If you're making more money, that's the good. If you're struggling or your business is struggling, then that's bad. But
actually, when something bad happens to you, it's even better because you have to think 7 times more.
Yeah.
Because something happens like success, you just like get it. But if something bad happens, you have to think 7 times more and go. And after it will be just you learn something new. It's an experience. So
yeah, absolutely. And he actually,
you always learn.
He says, it's so funny that you said you think 7 times harder. So what does that cause? It causes you to seek out for more information. You know what I mean? It causes you to you know, seek for answers, right? So it's like, if you're tripping out, you know, if your business is going to shit, or if your business is just not working out, or whatever it is that you're trying to do just not working out, that should be something that you look at as, okay, well, what can I get out of this learning experience? What can I learn from you know, this point in time in my business? Like, and then you start reading books, you know, you start buying courses, you start going to seminars like we were just talking about, because
you failed and you're like, okay, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna do this and this, I meet these people.
So. Exactly. And it's actually, I was hoping we can touch on this last, but I mean, honestly, just you know, plays so perfect. It's the fact that when Kanye, he had this, and we'll have Jimmy put in the clip here, where Kanye says something along the lines of, oftentimes you look at, you know, success, right? So let's say this is the mountain, literally, like this is the mountain right here. We'll say this mountain right here is like, you know, the ladder to success, right? We look up at the top of the mountain and we say, hey, once I become successful, then I'm gonna have all the resources, all the tools, all the money, all the relationships I need to, you know, get everything that I need in life. But like we were just talking about, it's actually as you're going up the mountain, as you're climbing up the ladder of success, you meet people, you learn something, you just get an experience, and you enjoy life and you enjoy your journey. Yeah, exactly. And you start, and he the way that he puts it is like, you know, you look up and you say, those are all the tools that I need. But as we're going up, you know, you find a rope, you find, you know, a new book, you find a new mentor, whatever it is, and that is what's gonna really get you to the top. It's not a matter of like, you know, going up to the top, then there's all the tools. It's like you grow as you're on the journey. And oftentimes as entrepreneurs, like, at least in my opinion, I struggle with this, is we say, hey, we're not worthy until we're all the way at the top. But in all honesty, it's like as we evolve, as we grow, as we learn, you know, as we surround ourselves with more people or better people, that's when, you know, success starts to happen. It's like the perfect definition of Earl Nightingale for success, or his definition of success is it's the pursuit of a worthy ideal, right? It's the pursuit. It's not the destination of a worthy idea. It's like once I get there, then I'm like successful. But you know, it's like as somebody starts working out or learning, that's the feeling of success that you get, is like, oh man, like I'm getting closer, you know?
You're excited.
Exactly. That's what keeps us going. So Maria, let me ask you this. Has there ever been a point in time in your life where like you were thinking that way, right? Because I know I have. Like I probably still struggle with it. Is like oftentimes we look at or let me just ask you the question. Has there ever been a point in time in your life where, you know, you wanted to get somewhere, like you're like, hey, I want to maybe, you know, look this good, or, you know, make this much money, or you know, have this much powerful circle, like social circle, but then you're like, whoa, like I'm on my way there, and that means that I'm creating the success as I get there. I don't know if that makes like the best sense, but
yeah, sometimes like I wanna meet a person, but I'm like, oh, I'm not ready. I'm just like going there.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's right.
You don't think it's right?
It's just we're like finding an excuses for ourselves. Like it's fear.
Yeah.
It blocks us. We're like, no, we're not good enough to be there. No, fuck, you're good enough right now. Just like do it. Don't plan it, because people, they're always like, oh, I'm planning to do this. No, just do it.
Just do it. Exactly. There's actually another part where he goes where he's talking about like confidence. So Kanye was talking a lot about confidence and how it's like a fucking superpower pretty much during the Kanye West Charlemagne interview, where he's talking about, you know, how confidence is like a superpower, right? Yeah. Because when he was going through those rough times, and when he was in the hospital, and like he was on all types of medicine and stuff like that, he realized that when he was taking those drugs, like opiates, I think he said it was like heroin pretty much. So there was, you know, when he was talking about the confidence part, he was mentioning how, you know, again, it's like a superpower, right? It's like when you have confidence, you have the ability to, you know, make the calls, or, you know, make the video, or, you know, put up the post, or, you know, go and see that person, or whatever.
Hang out with the people.
Exactly. But when you don't have that confidence, it's like, again, you're lacking that superpower. So let me actually see what he says here to see exact. But
confidence and self-love is the number one to everything. Money, relationship, everything. Career.
Yeah, and that's what we'll touch on next, is like is just that. But in order for you to really get all those, you know, to get the love or feel the love, I feel like you have to have the confidence first, you know, because if you don't have confidence, then you're gonna say to yourself, well, nobody's gonna love me unless I get, you know, unless I achieve this, then my family will be proud of me, or then my friends, or the community that I'm in, you know what I mean, then they'll accept me. But if you realize that, you know, it's all about love, it's all about positive energy, then that's where the confidence is going to come from, unless you can put it in a better way than I can.
Well, for me, confidence and self-love is the same.
Okay.
And I believe we have to love ourselves unconditionally, because what people do, they go to work out because they don't like their body, or they just like to make money because they're not good enough. That's the feeling, you know, that make them like, oh, I need to be better and better. But actually, when you love yourself and you accept yourself the way you are, you will be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
You will get there faster.
Because you accept yourself for who you are, and then you also have to realize that, yes, you might have goals, but it's like, hey, this is where I'm at right now, and I've made the decision. I think what really gives people a lot of you know, a lot of confidence. That's what gives me a lot of confidence, when I make the decision, right? So when I'm like, hey, I'm gonna start working out, that gives me the confidence and the energy to be like, okay, I'm gonna follow through. But sometimes people just never make that, you know, that stand, you know, that declaration of independence pretty much is like saying, hey, we're not gonna tolerate this anymore. I'm not gonna tolerate being in this position. And
but this is more discipline, you know. You
would say that's like discipline versus,
to make a decision, this is more discipline.
That's a good point.
And it's so you respect yourself and love yourself more when you're disciplined.
Yeah.
but for different people it's different, you know.
There
So
you
you
go.
need to find your way when you love yourself and accept yourself, and just like to do it.
There you go. And you also said something about, you know, stop doing things like out of fear, right? And so he says, this is actually one of my favorite parts of the interview. There were so many good ones, but this is the one that I would say was best for me. Is actually two things. Okay, ready? The first one: stop doing things based out of fear and act out of love, right? And then stop strategizing and start feeling what your gut is telling you to do. What would you, how do you, because I have like my, you know, the way that I interpret it, but how do you interpret that? And I'll say it one more time. Stop doing things based out of fear, act out of love, and then stop strategizing and start feeling what your gut is guiding you to do.
Yeah, so fear stops us from everything, and this is the main thing that can block us from money, relationship. It's fear.
Yeah.
So but it's your choice always. There is just two things: it's fear or it's love.
Yeah.
It's like a duality in this
Gotcha.
topic. So it's your choice. You choose love or you choose fear.
Okay, and has there ever been a point in time where you were acting out of fear and then nothing was going your way and you changed it to, you know, acting out of love? And
I do a lot of subconscious work, and I realized that everything, like all goals, okay, you have this goal.
Yeah.
And you find that there is a fear between you and this goal. So you just need to be aware that it's just a fear.
Is it like a little voice in your head almost? Like a little voice in your head telling you like, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you know, you don't have enough money, blah, 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 blah.
It can be a voice and it can be a feeling that just blocks you. It's not just, maybe you don't even think, but you want to do it and you blocks it.
Got
you know?
Got you. And then when you do something out of love, how does that usually feel? Like when you do something out of love, how does it, you know, you said doing something out of fear, just like you might make a little bit of progress, right?
Yeah, but
then
it's
it's just minimal. But when you do something out of love,
and fear make you eat bad, and it's, you know.
Yeah, that's her favorite topic right there, about food and eating nutrition. She's like a health freak.
But to get rid of the fears, that's what I do, like Kundalini yoga or all this spiritual work. It helps you so much, praying. The fear will go.
Yeah. Where would you say like fear arises from? Would you say it's like, in your opinion, would you say it's like genetic, or would you say it's something that when we're raised, we're conditioned to be fearful?
Yeah, it can be genetic first, from your, like, it can be in your DNA, but it's from your childhood too.
Yeah.
So when you release all your traumas, that's all you can do. There are so many techniques like about subconscious and psychologists and everything. You can release so much fears and trauma from childhood, and you're good.
Yeah.
Because it's just your experience. Something happened and you had strong emotions about this, and you connect fear with certain thing, but you can always work on it.
So like an example would be somebody tries to start up a business, right? They try to start up a business and then they fail fucking miserably, right? So it's like something might happen at that point where all of their friends maybe realized that they failed and they were shunning them and they were telling them, haha, like you failed, like you sucked at this, you thought you were gonna be so rich, you thought you were gonna make so much money, blah blah blah, but you fucking failed. And so that they might, you know, connect that to starting up a business, right? So anytime you go and try to start up, I could have sworn I heard voices down here. I think there is, dude.
So this person, he connected fail with business, you know, and now every time he will start a business, he might fail. Yeah. But if you disconnect this, you will be fine.
Exactly. If you disconnect the idea of like, hey, anytime, because then somebody will start to be conditioned saying, hey, every time I'm gonna try to launch a business, I'm gonna fail, right? But that's not true. It's just
your experience that happened, and it's fear based on this experience. So you need to work through it.
Boom, there you go. And so also I want to touch on one thing is, so when I was at Funnel Hacking Live 2018 in Orlando, which is like a ClickFunnels event. If you guys don't know ClickFunnels, it's like software for sales funnels. Probably one of my favorite tools of all time. It's helped us make like thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands actually, because it's so fucking good in terms of like, you know, sales funnels. But anyways, we went to that event, my first time in Orlando, and Tony Robbins was speaking. He was talking about, I actually have the notes here in my Evernote, make sure whenever you go to a conference, you also take a shit ton of notes. Okay, so I took some notes on this particular section right here, which is huge, is the 3 keys to a breakthrough, right? So a breakthrough is when you go, for example, for us, right? When we went from, you know, struggling in door-to-door sales, and, you know, we had that big breakthrough where we went from, you know, living paycheck to paycheck to, you know, 6-figure months in e-commerce and drop shipping. That was a big breakthrough, right? But the way that it happens is in 3 different levels, right? The weakest level is strategy, which is when you're freaking out, you know, you got to pay bills or something like that. People are like, okay, well, they change their strategy. They focus on the strategy, right? So it's like, okay, I'm freaking the fuck out. Like, I need to make more money. I hate my job. I'm about to get fired. And they're like, okay, well, I can start, you know, selling this online, right? And so they're like just changing the strategy, but the state of mind is still the same.
Yeah.
And so the second level, which is like in between, is story. Okay, it's like the excuses of why I can't or why my company can't do something, right? So again, based out of fear, there's so many times where, let's just say, we'll use that dude Bob, we'll call him Bob, the dude who had like the traumatic experience when he started his first business. Well, every time he goes to launch another business or something like that, he's gonna have that story as to what he's telling himself every time he tries to go launch a business, right? I'm gonna fail, my friends are gonna laugh at me, I'm probably, you know, I'm just overthinking the success, like I'm not gonna succeed, that, you know, blah, 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 blah. And the first level, which is the thing that Tony Robbins specializes in, is changing people's state, right? So it was a really, really good clip actually of this tennis pro player, Rafael. You know Rafael? What's his last name? I forget. So Rafael what? Rafael Nadal. And there was a video of him where he was like walking on the court on the championship, right? Championship game. So he walks up on the court and like he's, Tony Robbins was like, you know, in this, like he was giving him some coaching, you know? So it was like a private, it was right before the game. He was losing so many fucking games in a row. Nobody knew what was wrong, right? Nobody knew like what is wrong with this kid. Like he's definitely a champion, you know? But he just wasn't winning. So Tony Robbins was like, okay, let's do this. Let's look at the state of mind that you have when you're walking onto the court, right? So he looks on the championship game that he won. So Rafael, he comes on the court, he's like his chest out, he looks like a monster, like just walking down the court. He like holds the ball, he like throws it up and he like, you know, spikes it, right? And so that was how he was playing, you know, that was a state of mind. It was like super alpha, super like, you know, I'm a fucking champion. Yeah. And then the most recent, he's like, okay, let's watch your most recent, you know, walks on the court, right? And he was walking with his shoulders down and his racket right there, like by his side.
He didn't believe he's a champion anymore.
Exactly, yeah. So he didn't believe he was a champion, and so he told him, he was like, watch this. And he made him watch that clip over and over of him walking onto the court. And he's like, holy fuck. He's like, that's so right. He like looks, and even in the one when he was like winning and where he was became the champion, he was like looking at his partner like he was gonna kill him, like he was gonna destroy him. And so it was like this confidence again.
He believed again that he's a champion. Yeah,
but once he started losing a couple more times in a row, that confidence, went down, right? The confidence went down.
The belief went down.
Yeah, there you go. The self-belief, yeah. And then also he started to focus on strategy. You know, so like, do I gotta hit the ball different? Do I gotta serve different? You know, but the ultimate way to get a big breakthrough is to, you know, really control your state of mind. So for example, and I'll never forget when we were going, we were down in San Diego, and I was like, at this point I was fucking hating going door to door. I was like, dude, I have had enough. It's been like 2.5 years. Like, I gotta get out of this right now. And I was always just focused on the strategy. So, and I did this subconsciously, right, where I took charge of my mental state. And I'm like, I started really looking at one of my friends, Steven, who was just crushing internet marketing. I'm like, well, if Steven can do $1 million a month, right? If Steven can do $1 million a month, then I can make at least 10 grand, at least 100 grand, you know? And if he made $1 million a month, or if he's making $1 million a month, I can make $1 million a month, right? And I was looking at my buddy Steven and all the other people that were like making money online and stuff. And I'm like, okay, there's nothing genius about these people. Not to knock them. I mean, obviously my buddy Steven, all the other people who make a ton of money online are obviously smart, and, you know, they work hard and, you know, take action, which is what most people don't do. But I didn't you know, try to overestimate it, right? I'm not like, oh wow, look at all these Elon Musks, you know? Like when you try to fly a fucking spaceship or a car to the moon, like, yeah, that takes, you know, genius, right? It takes a level of genius. Like Kanye's level of genius is now turning Yeezy into $1 billion corporation. And it's never been heard of before where, like, you know, an artist just, you know, a rapper, as they would try to put him in a box, you know, builds like this huge fashion, you know, like unicorn, right? Unicorn calls it a unicorn. It's a unicorn. It becomes like, it's like just a little company turns into $1 billion company, and that takes genius, obviously. But you know, the state of mind and the story that we tell ourselves, I believe, is the two most important one. While strategy of what it is you need to do, what website you need to create, or what program you need to watch, I feel like that's all strategy, right? But the top two is what really causes huge breakthroughs. Would you agree?
Yeah. And what you did, you were like, wow, if Steven can do it, I can do it. This is called NLP. You create a story, and from your conscious it goes in your subconscious. It's like, if he can, I can do it too. So this is like NLP. Tony Robbins does it too. You know?
And for those of you guys that know what NLP stands for, it's neuro-linguistic programming, and it's what she was talking about earlier is conditioning. You know, it's like all these moments in our life where, you know, all these moments in our life where, you know, specific things happen, traumatic experiences, whether it be, and a lot of times it happens with relationships, right? Like, you know, I know a friend that, you know, she had a boyfriend, whatever, when she was younger, and he cheated on her, and it was like a super heart. I mean, this is like obviously worldwide, you know what I mean? It happens, you know, often, but, you know, things like that can cause you to fuck up the rest of your relationships, you know, throughout. It's like, okay, well, if this person that I loved so much, you know, cheated on me, then
she will wait from her future boyfriend the same. And if you believe he will cheat on you, of course he will cheat on you.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, yeah. So that makes sense. And again, this relates to business as well. It relates to health, you know, maybe sometimes, or that one time the person tried to go to the gym and work out, they got laughed at, or something happened in the gym or whatever it is, and they were like, fuck that, I'm never going again. Or they didn't get results right away, and they're like, I'm never going again. So, you know, conditioning, the state of mind that we're in, and also, you know, the story that we tell ourselves.
Patience too, you know, to wait, not to see the result right away. Sometimes it doesn't come right away.
Absolutely.
Like your body or money.
Yeah.
You just keep going.
So let's end it off on this one right here. Okay, I'm gonna share something with you here. This is from, you haven't watched the interview, right? Okay, I'll definitely, for those of you guys that haven't watched the interview, make sure you go check it out. A lot of great points. Again, I'm not like, you know, I don't agree 100% with everything Kanye, you know, says or does, obviously, but I do admire his genius and the level of, you know, success he's achieved, and honestly, in all areas of his life, you know, his family, his company, the people that he keeps around him. But one thing that really, you know, stuck with me is when he was talking about, and it's so funny when I hear this from like successful people, because then it puts me in my place, right? And he goes that family, actually, let me just read the quote for the exact note. And he says that family is more important than currency, right? Making more money to be away from family is not worth it. And a prime example of that is Avicii, right? So Avicii, he was this, you know, world-renowned, you know, rest in peace to him, and God bless his family, but you know, he was traveling around the world. He was touring. Like, I watched his documentary. He actually did like 850 shows in like just a couple years, right? And so he's traveling all the time. He started drinking, and he was an invert person, right? An introvert. And so when he started being like in public spaces, partying, like his life was one big party. He started drinking a lot, you know, doing drugs or whatever it is, and you know, one day, like I think it was his intestines or something just exploded from all the stress. And so from that point on, he was never in good shape. But when he got to that point where he realized that how much like fucked up, you know, things he's done to his body, to his state of mind, to his close people around him, it was too late for him to go back and undo it, you know? So that's what ultimately led to his death, is all that stress, all that, you know, negative energy, and all the things that he was taking and whatnot just took a toll on him, and it ended. But he was really just going after the money, the appreciation, the recognition, but you know, again, when he realized
it was too late.
It was too late. Like, but Kanye West though did it a little bit differently. He took a year off from social media. He took a year off from touring, from, you know, being out in public or whatever it is. And sometimes I feel like you need that, you know, to kind of separate yourself, seclude yourself, and don't care about the money, don't care about, you know, the partying or what's going on out there, and just really take time to heal yourself.
You should think about yourself first. As Tai Lopez say, you go for money and you give up on your health, but after you waste so much money on your health. So
it's a double entendre, I guess. It's like,
so yeah, take care of your health first.
Yeah, absolutely. And then without health, you can't really function, you know, properly, right? You're not sharp, you're not focused.
And people, they think just in short term. Oh, now I feel good. Yeah, you're 20 years old. Yeah. But what will be later?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what are you gonna do when you're, and there's so many people, I mean, who, like, you know, make so much money, they became so successful, and then they end up killing themselves, right? Like the owner of Victoria's Secret. I mean, you know, the day that the company went public, IPO, he became a billionaire, he jumped off the, I think it was either the San Francisco Bay Bridge or whatever it is. And there's so many more people, so many stories where, you know, this repeats itself. It's like they forget about their health, they forget about their family, they forget about their love, and once they get the money, they try to look around. It's like, oh shit, I've been ignoring my health, I've been ignoring my family, you know, and then it's just like too late to go back and earn it.
So don't give up on yourself just because of money or people, or just like self-love first. Absolutely.
And to end it off, Kanye says the real luxury is friends, family, and time. And this is interesting, and the ability to afford luxury. Okay, it's not saying that you got to get luxury, it's just the ability to afford the luxury is what, you know, makes you feel like, hey, like, I can afford it. Doesn't mean I have to, you know what I mean? Like, just because I'm making 6 figures a month and I see all these other people, you know, buying Lamborghinis or Ferraris, doesn't mean that I have to get it to feel, you know, part of it, right? Like, some people, you know, I wanted to get a Rolex, right? Like, I've always wanted a Rolex when I was younger, and so that was, you know, this is like my symbol of success. You know, some people are gonna be like, you're such a dumbass for spending, you know, 15 grand on a watch, like, and
but if it makes you happy,
yeah, it's like it is what it is, you know. But again, it's not all about, you know, just materialistic things. He says that, you know, the real luxury again is in friends, it's in family, it's in time, you know, just having the time to yourself. Where, because they asked him, so in the interview they asked him, would you drop Yeezy to go and work for like Louis Vuitton? You know, like, let's say Louis Vuitton's like, come and just be the director of it. Or I think it was Hermes, or maybe another one, or Gucci, or whatever it was. They're like, would you drop everything you're doing to go be the head director, creative director? And he was like, no, absolutely not. I mean,
he does it because he loves it.
Yeah, exactly. He does the easy thing because he loves it. He can be around his family all the time. He can choose the people that he wants to work with. And obviously that's the value in entrepreneurship, right? That's why people, you know, like myself and you and, you know, any other entrepreneur really like, you know, building our own businesses, because one, we don't have anyone to dictate, you know, our time and who do we have to work with and deal with. And we can also choose how much time we allocate to our family, you know, to our health, and we have complete time management.
Balance.
But yeah, exactly, balance. But I would also say that there is a double-edged sword to that. So for those of you guys that are, you know, either planning to get into entrepreneurship, or you're on your way, maybe you're already, you know, you already have a business up and running, one of the biggest things that I personally struggle with is managing my time right too, where, you know, I can give time to the gym, give time to my family, give time to my, you know, to read and just do some inner self work. I guess I struggle with that, honestly, because sometimes I can focus on, you know, just the money or just accomplishing this project, and sometimes I'll lose all that. But I do tend to catch myself, you know, like I catch myself like, oh shit, I haven't went to the gym in like 2 weeks, or holy cow, I haven't called my family in like 3-4 days, you know. So it's not a problem, but you got to just be able to catch yourself.
You should grow in different, like, spiritual way, health, relationship, and just like to be balanced in everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a wheel, you know.
Yeah. What would you say is in your opinion, what would you say is the most important, like, if you were to put, you know, one or choose one, I guess, area of your life that in your opinion is the most valuable more than the other ones, or is that hard to pick?
No, it's all. I'm telling you, it's like
you would say all
Tony
of them?
Robbins has this thing too. It's like a wheel. Here it's health, money, spiritual growth, career, relationship, and wheel can't be like this. You know, you can be here more successful than here.
Gotcha.
It won't
like spin.
You can drive.
Yeah, exactly.
So it should be balanced in everything.
That's a good point.
Maybe now you're not successful in this, money is here, health is here, but you're growing.
Yeah. Like, I mean, sometimes I see people that are so fucking ripped, like they spend like 10 hours in the gym every day, and it's like, but then, you know, their financial life is shit, or you know, their families like to crap, and so sometimes they use, you know, one area of our life to escape from the other parts instead of confronting it and dealing with it, you know. But honestly, this was a really good, I think we've been rolling like a lot longer than we thought. But I mean, I guess one last thing before you guys go is the only thing that can hold you back is a lack of information. That's what Kanye ended off the interview with, and that's how I want to end this off with here. And it's actually pretty funny because he was doing it on top of the mountain, so it's pretty funny that we're here right now in Runyon. But you know, the only thing that can hold you back is a lack of information, whether it be hold you back from developing, you know, a really good relationship with someone. It's just a lack of information, you know, in terms of what their goals is, what your goals are, where you're trying to go in life. And so if you can communicate and just get the information from them, like kind of like how Kanye was having this beef with like Jay-Z. He said it was just a lack of information. He didn't know why Jay-Z didn't come to his wedding, but it was because Jay-Z and Beyonce were going through something. So if you had just asked him, why didn't you come to my wedding, instead of feeling some type of way about it the whole time, he would have gotten that, you know, they would have probably stayed friends, you know, throughout that period. Or, you know, when you have somebody that you're working with, right, like a business partner or a client, just information, just ask questions and see where they're at. Yeah, don't prejudge. Exactly. Don't just assume that they didn't come to my wedding because he's not my boy anymore, you know, because he hates me. Exactly. Because the media, again, especially when you're at Kanye's level, like the media is telling him one reason as to why, you know, Jay-Z didn't come to his wedding, and then his friends are telling him another reason. So he doesn't know what the fuck to believe. It's like what's real and what's not. And so that's where it comes back to, you know, really going with your feeling instead of you know, your thinking. You're just your mind. So with that being said, gang, say gang.
Bye.
Gang. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching. We're just gonna keep going on this trail here, hanging out. But other than that, if you guys got value out of this video, make sure you drop a like, make sure you drop a comment, and of course, smash that subscribe button. All right, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.